So recently I picked up a 3DS. I've been wanting to play some stuff on there for a long time, and thought I'd start with Persona Q since it was on sale. And boy, was this the right choice. Persona Q has been a lot of fun so far. I'm just over halfway done, and today, I thought I'd talk about my initial thoughts spoiler-free so far, why I love it, and why maybe you should give it a shot too. So in Persona Q, our favorite gangs Seize and the investigation team are pulled into a mysterious world, alongside their Velvet Room attendants. At the start of the game, you pick who you want to play as, either you or Makoto, and their gang will feature more prominently in many story and social events. So there is actually a good reason to experience both routes, especially since they don't meet until a little bit later into the game. Besides that though, the main events are the same. I picked Seize because they're my favorite gang, though I do plan to do the investigation team after. They're all transported into a cursed version of Yasogami High holding a culture festival, and bump into the mysterious Zen and Rei, two individuals who say they are students at Yaso High, who have been stuck in there for an unknown amount of time and have lost their memories. They tell you about the labyrinths, and you quickly realize that only through navigating these can you make it back to the real world. Together you navigate through the labyrinths, eventually meeting up with the other gang, and working together to unlock the way back to the real world and to uncover the mysteries of the labyrinths. So, I'm sure many of you are thinking,
Persona Q, isn't that the maze game where you draw a map?
And yes, you'd be right. It's apparently a spin-off of Etrian Odyssey, I don't know if I said that right, which has that drawing feature as its staple feature. Each labyrinth has multiple floors, and floors are laid out like a grid, with you moving one square at a time, with fights happening after moving a couple of squares, and random story events happening at certain points. You want to keep a great map if you want any hope of reaching all the way to the end. There's a variety of settings to affect how much you have to do, but for the most part, floors are filled in automatically as you walk, and you fill in the walls, along with marking certain points of interest, such as shortcuts, event areas, and other valuable spots. At certain points in dungeons, your friends may remark how something was left here, and then you may get a request later to go get that item there, so hopefully you marked it. There's also a chest on each floor that encourages you to step on every tile and get 100% floor completion. This is a good motivator, but if I'm being honest, my biggest gripe has been how meh some of the rewards from the chests have been, if I'm being honest. The mapping aspect is actually surprisingly fun though. It's important to keep a good map as you don't go through these labyrinths in one run like you could a palace in P5. Your SP is much lower in this game and skills cost much more, meaning you'll have to head back to the hub to get yourself healed back up pretty often, so you'll want to know your way back. Your inventory is also limited. Enemies drop materials that you need to get better gear, though I'll get to that later. As you traverse through these labyrinths, every couple of steps you'll get into a typical Persona fight, with a twist. Q has changed up combat quite a bit, and in general, it's a lot tougher. You have all of the party members of 3 and 4 available to you, allowing for really interesting combinations. You can now take 5 people into combat, and people are laid out in rows. The front row will get hit more often, and physical attacks are stronger if done from the front row in general, as they're closer to the enemy. The back row will get hit less often, and it's best to put people with ranged weapons or weak healers and other casters back here. Turns are also different now. Rather than picking an action and having your character immediately do it, it is more old school in that you give all your characters commands, and then both them and the enemy go in the order of their agility stat. I'll admit this was very jarring to me at first, but I actually grew to love it a lot. Because the game plays like this, one mores are also different. Instead of getting another turn when you hit a weakness or get a crit, you now enter what is called boost, and all-out attacks will happen randomly when at least one person is in boost, with the chance going up as more are in it. Boost lasts until your next turn or until you get hit, but you can chain it by continually hitting weaknesses or getting a crit. Boost makes you go first during combat, and your next skill will cost 0 SP or HP. This might not seem like much, but it's actually incredibly helpful. As I mentioned earlier, SP in this game is not easy to come by. As such, conserving your SP through boost is incredibly helpful. One of the best parts about Q though, and one that I actually want in Persona 6 however, is the changes to navigators in this game. Rather than just randomly helping you out, which I'll admit can sometimes be pretty fun when they come in clutch, now navigators have skills that you can use when you need them to, alongside their passives as always. These skills cost a certain amount from the navigator bar. I don't know the real name, so I'm just gonna call it that. which builds up across fights as you deal damage, and it carries over across battles. Fuka, for example, has an ability that will heal everyone at the start of the turn for 3 turns, and it costs only 1 navigator bar, which is amazing. These skills make the navigators really feel part of the team in my opinion, as they directly help when I need them. It's probably my favorite addition to the game, and a change that I'd love to see in the mainline games. It makes the navigator so involved. The biggest change that Q has, however, is sub-personas. In this game, Makoto and Yu no longer wield multiple personas. They're stuck with Orpheus and Izanagi, but they, and everyone else, can now equip a second sub-persona. Just like how you could make any persona you wanted in previous games and use it, it's just like that, except now you can equip one on everyone, giving you infinite possibilities. You don't have to switch between them or anything. Everyone gets to use the skills of their persona and the extra one. No switching necessary. Always wished Akihiko was the avatar and could wield all 4 elements? Well, now he can. Each sub-persona comes with extra health and SP, which are automatically regenerated at the start of the fight. So looking at this one, with this equipped, that person will always start the battle with that much extra SP and health, on top of what they already had. Even if they waste it, next battle they'll get that health and SP, making longer exploration in the labyrinth easier, as everyone comes into battle with some SP. Sub-personas probably wouldn't fit in the main games, but in Q it just feels so right and so much fun, since battles are much tougher. It's the most unique feature to these games, and I love it. Customizing your main characters was fun, but getting to build everyone gives you so much customization in a way that Persona has never given you before, and I really love it. Outside of labyrinths and fighting, there's a ton of things to do back at the hub that you'll unlock once both gangs meet. In the nurse's office, you can pay Elizabeth to heal your HP and SP, something you'll be doing a lot, and you can accept requests, which come in as you explore the labyrinths. Requests come in a wide variety of formats, and a lot of them are pretty funny. Some of my favorites have been catching a thief with Naoto, where you have to go around and ask people questions to solve the mystery, hooking up Junpei with the Yasogami High girls, or spending the day hanging out with Theodore. Others are to find certain things in the labyrinth, fight a side boss, etc. Also in the hub is the store. The store works just like in Persona 4. You sell your materials to Theodore, who makes you new equipment and items, and then you buy them from him. Stroll is where you see social events, and seeing these is one of my favorite parts of the game. Seeing the Persona 3 and 4 crew hang out together in their prime is just too much fun. A lot of these scenes are honestly pretty hilarious, and some of them also appear as part of requests. Overall, Persona Q is very fun so far to me. I'm playing on hard, and labyrinths are truly scary. Shadows are tough, your resources will run out, and you'll have to run away sometimes. If your party dies, you resume from your last save. So you don't want to explore so much only to die and lose your progress. You have to be careful. Make sub-personas for everyone and make sure you can hit weaknesses, and make sure you always have the items you need to succeed, such as revival items and go-homes. Outside of exploring the labyrinths, the events and story of just seeing these two gangs come together is a huge part of the appeal to me, and it's truly funny seeing the new dynamic of the combined group. And seeing the Velvet Room attendants have their sibling arguments is pretty funny too. Like, I thought Margaret was kind of boring in Persona 4, but she's actually pretty funny being the big sister to the others in this game. The new characters Zen and Rei are pretty neat, Rei especially. She's pretty cute and funny, and both her and Zen are a bit oblivious to common phrases and expressions, and it makes for some funny dialogue. I'm intrigued and excited to see their mystery unfold. If you have a 3DS and have already played the games, and need some more Persona 3 or 4 in your life, I really can't recommend this game enough. I love these characters, and really can't get enough of them. So it's really great to see them, and how they all get along, and the game is honestly worth it for that alone to me. Let me know in the comments what you think about Persona Q, if you've played it, or maybe if I've intrigued you enough to give it a try. And with that said, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. This is Heavenly M, adios.